Thank you and welcome back to the final segment of the show for today. We're talking to Dr. Lewis Baldwin, and he's giving us some information in reference to African Americans and the election of 2016. And of course, Dr. Baldwin, let's during this last segment, let's take the opportunity to deal with some issues that you believe to be important in this election, so that we can sort of end this particular segment, giving some directions in terms of what people can do and what we ought to do.
I think that this election is important, first of all, because we need to assure the preservation of the Obama legacy. Obama has been very intentional about addressing health care issues, about addressing employment issues in the black community, criminal justice issue, the issues that pertain to law enforcement and its relationship to the black community. So we need to preserve his legacy in terms of pushing legislation that address the concerns for African Americans and women. We have to keep in mind that the Ledbetter Law or Act was signed by President Obama, which called for equal pay equity for women. So we first of all got to preserve his legacy for the black community, and I think that's very important for the black community. Another concern, of course, is how will this election cycle, and particularly the person who wins the office of president, how will that person address issues such as affirmative action, such as gun control, criminal justice, crime in black communities. I think that is very, very important. We look to the future, black Americans do. We've always looked to the future because we have had problems dealing with the past in many cases, and dealing with the present. We look to a future with hope.
Things have to get better.
Things have to get better. So we have a more hopeful view when it comes to the future. And I think black Americans today are looking for someone who will build on the Obama legacy. And I think most black Americans, studies show that 87% of blacks at least will vote for the Democratic candidate. And I think that most black Americans feel that the Democratic candidate, who happens to be Hillary Clinton, represents a better prospects, a better choice for the future in terms of how our own platform in the black community will be advanced, not only in terms of the preservation of the Obama legacy, but building on that legacy in terms of what? Creating more jobs. There's unemployment in certain black communities at 58%. So how will the future president address those kinds of issues? How will the future president address the gun issue? Hillary Clinton has talked about gun control. Donald Trump has talked about the Second Amendment rights and how to extend those rights. So I think, we have to look at that because that's very, very important, because crime, particularly black on black crime, has reached epidemic proportions in places like Chicago and New Orleans and Philadelphia. So we have to be very concerned about the candidate who wins and how that candidate will promote our agenda as it relates not only to education and jobs
and the Supreme Court
very important,
very important,
pay equity, voting rights, affirmative action. I think these are the concerns that black people bring to the ballot as they vote for our president on November 8th.
And I think over the last 5 minutes, Dr. Baldwin, I think that this is an opportunity for black folks and other folks who feel that they've been discriminated against.
Disenfranchised.
This is an opportunity for them to move forward.
Exactly.
And the best way to move forward is to have a good agenda.
Exactly.
And I think that the Democrats do at least have somewhat of an agenda. I mean, at least it might be on the web page somewhere, but at least it's out there somewhere, and it's not a bunch of well anyway. I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
I think it characterizes itself.
Exactly.
When you talk about the opposite of
yeah,
that.
we have to keep in mind now that since the mid-'60s,